I'm gonna give you 7 rotational core exercises that every single shot putter, discus thrower, thrower in general needs to do, and we're gonna start right now. Okay, first exercise. I wanna stand here and I wanna make sure I'm getting nice and loose. I know the lighting's probably not the best, but I wanna go boom right here, okay? And I wanna stay here. And now, it's the early morning for us. I wanna try to rotate as much as possible, okay? And I wanna try to get back here and I wanna feel a stretch. When I'm in this position, I wanna feel a stretch through my obliques on this side. So all of these movements that we're gonna be giving you are gonna be related to rotating, feeling different positions, and thinking how that will transfer to the throw. And on top of that, we're gonna actually give you a little bit of a progression. This is gonna be the warm-up. We wanna make sure that we're relatively mobile when we're warming up. And even right here, if I can keep my left arm on the actual wall and then try to rotate all the way. So you're gonna notice there's some thoracic rotation, okay? And I'm feeling that through my trunk, through my abs. I'm gonna go this way, same thing, and you're gonna notice here, and one big thing I would mention is try to pay attention to which side is tighter. My other side is much tighter than this side. Now, I did do this side second, so I'm a little bit more limber, but my first side is substantially tighter. Okay, do this movement for like 3 sets of 7 to each side. Now, the next exercise, another warm-up with a band that I think is absolutely fantastic, and you can sort of scale this, is we're just gonna go real simple here. And I wanna go, if I have my lead leg here, my right leg's forward, I want it on my right side. I'm gonna go here, and again, using the first exercise as a warm-up, I'm just gonna come around and I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. And the thing is, the band's pulling me this way. So I'm trying to hold here with my arm, with my pec, but I'm also holding stable on this side of my ab. And then as we decelerate, or as we stretch back, we can come here. And so you can just go through that. 1, 2, 3, boom. And you want to feel a good stretch here. Now, when we're talking about throwing, okay, so I want to do both sides too. When we're thinking about throwing, one of the best correlations to a far throw is hip to shoulder separation. So where's my hip here and where is my shoulder here? What is that separation? Okay, so if I get my left down here, my left arm and my left shoulder will have greater separation from my hips. That then leads to higher velocity on my pelvis right here, on my pelvis bone, my whole entire pelvis, into my upper body. So hip to shoulder separation has a high correlation to pelvis and torso rotation. So that's the whole goal here, is that when we're doing these rotational core exercises, it's not just about the actual gaining of strength. It's about feeling those positions so we can transfer them to the throw. Now, I want to make sure I do my other side here. Okay, so I'm here. Boom. Oh, yeah, I got a nice little back crack there. Ooh. Ooh. And these are easy movements that you can do to start off. Now we're gonna get into the next 2 rotational exercises to help you guys throw farther. All right, so the next 3 movements are gonna be exercises where you're gonna be rotating a little bit more with a little more load, but we're gonna be static, okay? You got it? Okay, so the big thing that we wanna start off with is I'm gonna use a kettlebell here, and we're just doing a really simple, some people might call this like a static Russian twist. Some people will call a Russian twist when they're on a decline bench. So there's a whole bunch of different names you can come up with it. I'm just gonna call it kettlebell rotations. Okay, and so the whole thing that I wanna do here is I actually like grabbing the actual fat part of the kettlebell. You don't have to go crazy heavy. And we just wanna rotate here, okay? And that little pinch is gonna train your grip. So you gotta be aware, like don't do anything stupid. If you can't handle this weight, you can go here and just sort of interlock your fingers, okay? And then you can come back and forth here. But I prefer this. And I wanna try to think through being mobile and being balanced. And remember, hip to shoulder separation. This is the biomechanics behind throwing farther. The more we are separated here, okay, the faster we rotate, the further we'll throw. So we want to think about getting to here and training both ways, okay? So you can do that for like 4 sets of 5. You can do 4 sets of 10, whatever you want to do. Now the next movement, and I want to go a little bit higher on this, okay? So we always called this low to high in college, okay? I have no idea what the universal term for this would be, but we would just say low to high. Here. And I have heard people call that like hammer finishes. Sadiq twists are another one. So I'm actually giving you 8 where you'd be here almost like the reverse of the low to high. So for us, the plate low to high, what we really want to think about is coming up here. And the ironic part with this is I want to keep my feet neutral, okay? So if I can keep my feet neutral and then come up here and then I rotate, okay? One thing Christoph Kipp has talked about, watching the downswing from when a discus thrower hits their high point, he thinks that they're actually able to, when they have more of a high point because they have more range of motion, that leads to greater acceleration as well. And that's where that low to high comes into play, is you just get a good feeling, okay? Now, the big aspect here is that if we can get good feeling and we think through how it's gonna transfer, it's not necessarily that the actual like sports specificity is what's transferring in regards to like training the rotation and the actual muscles. I actually think a lot of these movements, it comes down to the athletes executing the movement and they're visualizing their technique. They're feeling the position. They're trying to feel positions that they're in when they're in the circle. Okay, it's a little bit of a cheat code to get your younger athletes to really think through and to stimulate those mirror neurons like, oh, okay, so when I catch a discus, I want to be a little bit higher with my hand. Okay, I'm starting to feel that. And then they start to feel that tension into the ground. So those are the first 2 movements. And then this third movement is an exercise that I learned directly from an Olympic champion, Daniel Stahl. Now, Stahl, and ironically, I did not plan this. I swear that I'm wearing Stahl's t-shirt right now from the World Champs when he won the World Champs on his last throw and Alex got 3rd at the World Champs. So this is a Stahl rotation, okay? So last year at the Prefontaine, at the Diamond League, I was around Stahl and Stefan, his coach. I'm tight with these guys, right? Like, I'm great people. Fun to hang around with, fun to ask questions, fun to learn the technical aspects that Daniel thinks about. And Daniel's pretty open to sharing some of his knowledge, his great knowledge. And so he was showing me what I have now termed as the Stahl rotations. And he said he had been having issues with his groin and a little bit of issues with his lower back. So he was doing these Stahl rotations to help with that. And he was just saying, I'm doing these in perpetuity, every single program, no matter what. And he started them without any load. And so what this movement is we want to get back, and I hope we can splice in Daniel's video. We want to hold our torso directly out, and you almost want to think like there's a pole going out the top of your head, and you're just rotating around that pole. And trust me, like the first couple times I do this, it's not going to look pretty. But I'm going to hear, okay, and now one thing I want to bring up too is trying to have a 90-degree base here. Okay, a lot of people will initially do this here. They'll do things like this. They'll rotate this short. I want you to see if you can hold your head in line with your torso, in line with your pelvic bone here. Okay, so you got to do that. And then I want to see the actual range of motion to the floor. I'm not doing these as well as Daniel. Oh, now, holy, my abs, you will get lit You will get lit up by these. Start light. I'm doing this without weight. Go slow. Go deep on them. Do not rush through this. Feel the position, and that will blow up your core strength. My guys, my women are doing this the entire year. No, in perpetuity. There's no, until everybody's excellent with this movement, we're gonna keep doing these. So these are Stahl rotations. Do like 5 sets of 5 on each side. And once you get a little bit better, you can start using plates. You can start using bands. It gets a little more unique. But you will feel this in your lower back and a little bit on the abs as well, all over the place. So this is an absolutely fantastic movement. Now we got 2 more to show you. Middle schoolers, high schoolers, real quick, before we give you the last 2 exercises here, I want you guys to throw for throwsuniversity.com, okay? We do custom programming, strength training, specifically for shot putters and discus throwers. So if you're in middle school or you're in high school and you want to join the best throws group in the country, our middle school squad is insane. Our high school squad is insane. Our collegiate, post-collegiate group is the best in the world in a private setting, okay? And we want you guys to be a part of it. Click that first link in the description. Head over to throwsuniversity.com. Join the program today at ThrowsU, okay? And we're gonna help you achieve your goals, accomplish those dreams, and become the best thrower that you possibly can. Now, let's get back to the last 2 rotational core exercises. All right, so these last 2 rotational core exercises are gonna be a little bit more dynamic. So we went through the warm-ups. Those are great, especially for the young kids. With those warm-ups with the young kids, they'll fall all over the place. Get them to master those. The next 3 I gave you, you were in a static position. Now the last 2 movements are more dynamic. So the first one, we're going here, boom, 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 boom. Remember, what do I want right here? I have hip to shoulder separation, okay? And the big thing there on those rotating jump lunges, okay, plate rotating jump lunges, is I wanna have an athlete be able to control here. Okay, this is even a movement that we use with we have wrestlers, with our top guys that are D linemen, that already have 10 offers going freaking power 4s. I like using this movement because if they're falling over, they don't have dynamic trunk control. But if they can handle this load and be twitchy and be explosive, the rotational plate jump lunge is absolutely fantastic. And they can control that position, they can control that deeper hip to shoulder separation, and then ideally lead to bigger throws. So I'll demonstrate this one more time, and then we'll get to that last position. So we'll go here, boom, boom, I almost fell over, boom, boom, okay? So go 3 to 5 on each side, something like that, 4 sets. Now the last one, okay? And I hope that right now you guys are all heading over to throwsuniversity.com, signing up to train with us because you know how good we are. You know how many absolute monsters we're training, and we want you to be a part of the crew. Now, the last one. This will be a little bit faster, and we're even gonna be walking on this. So this is a take on the Krauser rotational lunge, but it's gonna be a little quicker with a dumbbell. So I wanna go here, and I almost wanna pitch it forward. So I'm going here, boom. I'll go nice and slow the first time, okay? Boom, 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 oh, boom, boom. Okay, now, what I wanna talk about is when I first started, I felt this quite a bit in my upper back on my right side, and even through like my piriformis here into my obliques on my right side. If you remember back to the beginning, I mentioned that was a little bit stiffer than my other side. So when we're doing this stuff, we've got to really trigger our athletes to be aware of those things, to be aware of the feelings, to be aware of the positions, to be aware of what they're hitting. Okay, when we do that, we're getting better touch points with them, we're communicating with them clearly, and we're trying to link then feelings and cues and technique together with strength. And that's the big goal here. Now, the last one I'll show here, same thing, a little bit quicker. So I'll go here. Okay, so you can get this to be a little bit faster. The noises are absolutely mandatory. Use all 7 of these movements to increase your rotational strength in throwing, in the shot, and the discus. Remember, it comes back to basing these off of your ability, your programming. Take it to your level, wherever that needs to be. You can implement this in your warm-up. You can implement this after a training session. And if you're training with us at throwsuniversity.com, we're gonna put this into your program specifically for you. That's that first link in the description. Head over to throwsuniversity.com because we want you guys to drop some bombs. Peace.